I think this is going to happen. And I'll explain to you why I personally believe he's going to go to Georgia and why it's almost 100% guaranteed. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not a Georgia fan, I really don't want to scare you when I say it, but it's the cold hard truth. Georgia is about to dominate the sport of college football. What if Georgia can string along some great quarterback play for the next 3 or 4 years? I'll tell you this much, and I hate to say it, but it's the cold hard facts. I don't think anybody can beat Georgia. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's all I know to say. And let me start out by saying this. I'm not shocked by the action of this. I'm shocked by the timing of this. I didn't expect this to happen today. Normally, whenever there's a big time announcement like this, we get a little bit of a warning. But no, we didn't get any of that. There was no warning whatsoever. It just seemed like your average Monday. And then, oh yeah, by the way, out of nowhere, the #1 high school recruit is going to Georgia. And let me give y'all some more context to the situation. I was working on a completely different video when this news came out, and all of a sudden, I'm getting bombarded with Twitter and Instagram notifications, and obviously, whenever that happens, you can put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, okay, something crazy is going on, and yeah, that's what happened. Going back to me saying I'm not shocked by this, well, the reason for that is documented on YouTube because I said over a month ago this was going to happen. I will pop up the video right here. I predicted him to go to Georgia. I said my leads were telling me he was going to go to Georgia, and that's what happened. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like I've been on a hot streak recently with some of my predictions. Hopefully, we can continue this momentum into the college football season because if you was here last year, you know my predictions were not so good. Oh man, we got a lot to talk about in today's video. I don't think some people understand the magnitude of this pickup. We're going to talk all about that, but also the only other minor topic we're going to speak on is today the new college football national championship odds. They've been released. And at #1, we all know it's Georgia, but the team that is behind Georgia, it shocked me to say the least. I didn't expect it. I don't know, maybe I should have expected. We're going to talk all about it. If you like college football, you already know. Consider joining our amazing community. By the way, shout out to everybody that's already subscribed. All right, Matt, but I'll shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, let's get this out of the way real quickly because we all know why you're here. I know why I'm here. I want to talk about Raiola. The new championship odds, they came out at plus 3,000. You got Tennessee, Notre Dame, overrated by the way, Oregon, and Washington. Going on up here, you got Texas, Penn State, Clemson, Florida State, LSU, USC. Those are your expected teams to be there. Here's the interesting part. The top 4. You got Michigan, plus 1,000. The Ohio State, plus 600. Alabama, plus 600. And Georgia, of course, #1, plus 220. Now, when I saw the list, I guess I was just shocked to see Alabama in second because you guys know we've been talking about all these preseason and post-spring rankings. Everybody's got Alabama outside the top 4. Although I don't agree with it, I guess I was just shocked to see Alabama right behind Georgia at plus 600 odds. Alabama and Ohio State are plus 600 odds, so they're tied for second place. Do I agree with that? Not really. I don't understand how you put Ohio State ahead of Michigan. I just don't understand that logic. I really don't. Michigan has a ton of key players coming back. They've already beat Ohio State back-to-back seasons. I'm not putting Ohio State ahead of Michigan. I don't care if it's rankings. I don't care if it's championship odds. I don't care what it is. For me, this isn't my rankings, but these are championship odds. I'd have Georgia, Michigan, then Alabama, then Ohio State. The reason I'd put Michigan ahead of Alabama is because you got to think about this. To get to the championship game, Alabama has to go through Georgia. So for me, that's why I think Alabama's odds should be behind Michigan and put Alabama at third place. Maybe we'll talk more about that in the future, but we got to get a move on to the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video. And we got to talk about no other than Georgia and Raiola. Oh man, I got to give y'all some context before we get into the situation because it is very key. This video right here, I'm sure some of you saw it, but I'm also sure a ton of you didn't see it or you might have forgot what we talked about. And to give you some of that context, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you a very short snippet from that video over a month ago. Matt, roll a clip. Nebraska is no longer the front runner in landing Mr. Raiola. Guess who it is? Georgia. Nebraska has a 33.3% chance. Georgia has a 44.4% chance, and USC 22.2%. And he's recently been crystal balled multiple times to go to Georgia. And this crystal ball thing, I know some people get it, some people don't. I remember when it first came out when somebody said, oh, well, Tua Tagovailoa is crystal ball to go to Alabama. Nobody really understood. It's like, okay, is this just people guessing? But believe it or not, the people who come up with these crystal balls, they're right 75, 80% of the time. I don't know how they're right, but I'm going to give them this. They're good at what they do. They got sources. They do this stuff for a living, so it makes sense. Like I said, nobody sends this to me. I had to find it out for myself. On March 30th in 2023, which was only about 14-ish days ago, Steve Wilfong predicted that Dylan Raiola will commit to Georgia. I don't know how that flew under the radar. I don't know how. I haven't seen it, but the bottom line is I see it now. And what's also weird about this, putting two and two together, that Recruit, yesterday, he tweeted that out. So you see where I'm going with this. Kind of fishy that 14 days ago they predict him and Crystal Ball to go to Georgia, and then yesterday a Georgia commit tweets at him. But for me, that wasn't good enough. I was like, okay, I need some more information. And I also found this out on Twitter, Instagram. A lot of these Georgia fans are stating, and just people around the country are stating, that Dylan Raiola, he's a silent commit. I want to explain this in the easiest way possible. For those of you that don't know what a silent commit is, it basically means Dylan Raiola, he's already committed to Georgia, but he hasn't done it publicly. It's not official. He's let Kirby Smart and them know, hey, I'm coming there, but I'm not making it official just quite yet. I'm not saying that. That's what a lot of other people are saying. I also happened to stumble across this on Instagram where somebody said, Raiola is coming to UGA. I have sources for real. It's happening. Somebody said, okay, what's your sources? And he stated, let's just say his commit video will be featuring DGD himself, Matt Stanford. He also stated that Dylan's dad and somebody else is working on his commitment video. Now let's cut the BS. Just because this random comment, this random person on Instagram says, oh, it's happening, I believe he's shooting his commitment video with his dad and blah, 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 blah. Does this mean it's going to happen? Heck to the no. I'm just sharing this information with you because I do think it's interesting. I mean, why else would this person be saying it? Why would he make this up? My point is, and here's what I'm trying to get across, we've had so much stuff happen in the last 14, 15 days just talking about this kid going to Georgia. Randomly, 14 days ago, he gets Crystal Ball to go to Georgia. Yesterday, a Georgia player comes out and says, hey man, why don't you come to Georgia? Tweets at him trying to be funny. And then now you got people saying, oh yeah, he's shooting his commitment video. He's a silent commit. Even if you want to chop this comment up as this dude's just straight up lying, he wants attention. Well, why did Dylan Raiola get Crystal Ball to go to Georgia? Why do they have a 44% chance of getting him? Why is a Georgia player who is committed there tweeting at him? Come on now, let's be serious. I can chop up something as being a joke or whatnot, but this isn't a joking matter. This is dead serious. I don't think this is Georgia fans having wishful thinking. I think this is going to happen. And I'll explain to you why I personally believe he's going to go to Georgia and why it's almost 100% guaranteed. Well, I do want to give a lot of credit and kudos here to this_Justin_Hill because he nailed it. I even said in the video, hey, take what this guy's saying with a grain of salt, but he was right. And it goes back to this. Whenever I see people randomly say stuff like this, here's my first reaction. Not that it's a lie, but why and how would they even make this up? I get people want clout and notoriety, but this guy was commenting this, what he posted right here, under some small Instagram account. I don't know, man. You can watch that entire video if you want to see my full reaction and thoughts on it. I just knew something was up. Everything you saw in that video clip, that is what has led us up to this current moment in time. Another reason I thought this Dylan Raiola kid was going to flip to Georgia is because of this quote right here. He stated, Georgia's different. The way they do everything is first class. He said that months ago, but ironically enough, he also said that after he took a ton of visits to Georgia. Many people don't even know this. He was doing this low key, but he didn't just take 1 or 2 visits to Georgia. I heard he took up to 5 or 6. He just kept going back and back and back, and I think what happened is he learned, hey man, Georgia, they're different. I mean, I know it sounds cliche and corny, but like he said, they are different. Literally, they are. And I think what really put into perspective for him is because he was visiting Nebraska, then he also visited Georgia. He saw the difference. I don't know another way to say it. He said it best. It's different. At Georgia, if you're a football player, you're treated like royalty. But not only that, he saw they had some straight up dogs on this team. Georgia is basically a super team. It is one of the best programs in the country. They got the best of the best coaches. They get the best of the best locker rooms, the best of the best facilities, the best of the best players. I could go on and on and on. When it comes to college football, I don't even think people understand this. Georgia is a better job than Alabama. Nick Saban just elevated Alabama, but from day one, if you're a true college football fan and you know your stuff, you know that Georgia is a way better job than Bama. And it's not just because they won back-to-back championships. It's always been this way. That's why Mark Richt got the boot, because people around Georgia, they knew there's no way we shouldn't be winning championships. To the outsiders, to the public, everybody's like, well, dang, why are you firing a 10-win head coach? Because for Georgia, that ain't great. It's good, but not great. They could do better, and, well, they've done better. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not a Georgia fan, I really don't want to scare you when I say it, but it's the cold hard truth. Georgia is about to dominate the sport of college football. And I'm not just talking about for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4. No. I'm talking about for the next 15 years. Come here, real close. I want y'all to understand something. Georgia won over and basically stole Dylan Raiola. This wasn't a scenario where most times these 5-star recruits, they decide, hey man, I want to go to Bama or Georgia or Ohio State because they're a really great team. Most of these recruits don't get won over by coaching staffs. They go there because they want to go there. But what happened with this situation, and it should scare the rest of the nation, is that Dylan Raiola wasn't even considering Georgia early on in his recruitment process. But then what happens? He goes, why not? I'll take a visit there, and his mind was blown. He got to Georgia, he went on that visit, he was like, holy crap, this is unreal. That's what happened. He got won over. He didn't even want to go to Georgia. He didn't even have connections at Georgia. His connections and ties were at Nebraska. I'll talk about that more in just a second. Let me get on track with the official news that came out. A couple hours ago, Hayes Fawcett tweets out, breaking, 5-star quarterback Dylan Raiola tells me he has committed to Georgia. The 6'3", 220-pound quarterback from Phoenix, Arizona chose the Bulldogs over USC, Nebraska, and others. Dylan Raiola is the #1 player in the 2024 class. And before I forget, I know I've already kind of forgot we're deep into this video. Congratulations, Dylan. You're going to love it there. You really are. Beautiful place, great ball team, one of the best coaches in the game. You're in for a treat. You're going to have a blast there. You're going to be around other 5-star recruits that are going to elevate you every single day. And that's a part of this that people don't understand. If he would have went to Nebraska, he's not going to get better in practice. But when you go to Georgia, the hardest team, the best team you're going to play isn't on Saturday, it's Monday through Thursday. That's what people fail to realize, man. For years, Alabama's hardest games weren't even the games, it was the middle of the week. And the same thing is happening for Georgia. I'm also glad that Nebraska fans can just quit following this up. I tried telling Nebraska fans he's not going there. Why would he? Nebraska sucks. The only reason he even considered it was because of his dad. And I'm going to say this again because some of y'all may think I'm joking. Nebraska fans, disrespectfully, y'all suck. You're not back. It's the same thing with Colorado fans. Look, I love Deion Sanders, what he's doing, but all these Colorado fans trying to tell me they're going to win 7-8 games next year, you look dumb. So just calm down, enjoy the rebuilding process. You may get to Georgia's level one day. Probably not, but anything's possible. I have yet to even address this. I may save this for a different video. But one thing I told you guys, I think it was about 2 months ago. I'll try to find the video. Hold on. Actually, I'm not even going to try to find the video. I said it a few weeks ago. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. I said one of the scariest things about Georgia, and as a Bama fan, this terrifies me, is if they can find a great or an elite quarterback like a Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, or Bryce Young like Alabama has had in the past. Because Alabama has been blessed with great and elite quarterback play. But Georgia, on the other hand, they just went back-to-back with a mediocre quarterback. Now, granted, I've said it time after time, Stetson DoorDash Bennett last year, he played phenomenal. He was outstanding, but let's be serious, he's nothing like a Bryce Young or a Caleb Williams or a CJ Stroud. He was a game manager that made a couple of big-time throws here and there. At times last year, yeah, he was great. But my biggest thing is, what if Georgia can get a quarterback like this Dylan Raiola kid, or the new guy, Carson Beck this year? What if they're playing at an elite level where Georgia can not only run the ball all game, but they can also pass if they want to? That to me, I don't know about y'all, but to me, it's terrifying. Georgia didn't even need an elite quarterback to go back-to-back. What if Carson Beck this year goes off and now you got Dylan Raiola coming in right behind him? What if Georgia can string along some great quarterback play for the next 3 or 4 years? I'll tell you this much, and I hate to say it, but it's the cold hard facts. I don't think anybody can beat Georgia. I don't even know if it'd be possible to beat Georgia. Not just if Dylan Raiola comes in and does great, but heck, from what I've seen from Carson Beck, this dude looks awesome. I'm saying over the next 2, 3, 4 years minimum, it looks like Georgia is set at the quarterback position, and we've never been able to say that. Yeah, Jake Fromm, he was all right. He was there a couple of years, but that's all it was. He was all right. He was a game manager. Same thing for Bennett. My point is, as a college football fan, I've never been scared of a Georgia quarterback. Never. But I'll tell you this much, that Carson Beck kid who's already there, who went, 18 for 22 or 25 in the spring game, couple of touchdown passes, If he's playing like that, yeah, I'm scared of him. And this Dylan Raiola kid, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume he's pretty good. I mean, he's the number one player in the country. I hope he's good. Y'all know how I am. My golden rule is I'm not going to hype up kids in high school balling out too much because they're playing future Grubhub drivers. I could go on and on. What a pickup for Georgia. I'm excited for y'all Georgia fans. I can't wait to see this kid play in the SEC. Let me know your thoughts down below. But, roll with it.